Welcome to today's Seidokan Saturday. So I want to look at, last week I talked about ugly kata. A lot of people have watched that. That we're not always looking for the full motion of everything, but that we're moving a little quicker and it tends to be shorter. And if you go back to older Okinawan kata, they didn't really have stances per se. It wasn't until Yoshitaka Funakoshi, Funakoshi Gichin's son Gigo, Yoshitaka, but he was known as Gigo. He's the one who instituted the longer stances and everything that they did. If you go back, most is pretty much here. And even Nekodachi was just going from here to sitting back, and now it's become Kokutsudachi or Neko Ashidachi, and we've become big stances. But if I have bad man here in front of me, and I don't know what's going to happen, I'm trying to de-escalate, and he does what, I don't know, whatever he's going to do, right? That's the standard thing he's going to do. I'm probably not going to drop all the way to here. And in fact, and I like one of the things Robert Teller Sensei said, Nick Sensei's brother-in-law, I think most of our Seidokan people know Teller Sensei, but if this guy's here in front of me and I see him start to do something, immediately, once that hand moves, I'm already here. Now, what stance am I in? I'm not in any stance. My hand and fingers are in his face, and this hand is going to be protecting against here. So my first move forward stops whatever he's going to do. That forward motion is, again, the forward flinch, the trained reaction that we have to work on, where the more natural reaction is the fallback. The more natural reaction, look, and we go here or whatever. Now he's on the offense. Yeah, do that, right? And I'm back. I'm pretty much going to be taking some blows at that point. But if I take the sen no sen, the action on the action, if I take the initiative, look, but as soon as I see him move, I come in. I'm not in a stance here. And in fact, this is more akin to what would be in sanchin, since he was asking about that earlier, right? I'm in sanchin dachi here, right? And that's where we throw our punches, from sanchin here. So my initial movement is two hands in, sanchin, throwing the blows, doing the takedown, with or without the sweep, with knees, with elbows, whatever I decide at that point to do. But I take the initiative. This is actually a lesson of most of our older kata. Very few, all of our pinyans start with a left move, with a left move, with a left move, with a left move. All of our pinyans start that way, which is me going offline. That's a separate topic, the sabaki concept. And I'll, in fact, remind me next week, we'll do footwork angles. But if I'm facing this guy and I'm trying to keep my distance and he keeps pressing, the minute I see a hand flinch or a shoulder, I'm going to go forward with something here, right? Even if it's jab to the eyes, maybe to the throat, but this right away, bam, now I'm on his jaw, I can follow through, strike, sweep, elbow, double knee, whatever I want to do. If he blocks, right? So he's going and he stops and he grabs. Once that hand comes up, thank you. That's where we get into our tweaking techniques. But I achieve that by forward, man, just don't, okay? Sanchin, we also do this, right? Oh, don't. We're here. He can go in 3, 5, 6. Once I get that, or once he comes in and he grabs my hand to try and pull it down, right? Thank you. That's where I get to win, okay? And I don't have to work nearly as hard once he gives me this because he's so nice. So, the idea of the older kata, seisan, we move forward, right? He flinches, ugly kata, boom! It's not 1, 2. That's 1. And it's forward, and it's now. Our next koryu kata, anaku, right? Oh, he flinches, boom, anaku, boom. There's my second move. And it's not about pretty, but it's forward, angle, and in. That's a main lesson of some of the koryu kata. They are a little higher level regarding application. Wansu, now again, we're going to the side, but we start with this. Again, this is just a kamae, a preparation, a posture. Or is it? Maybe his initial attack isn't a swing, but it's to grab my wrist so he can pull me into a punch. Wansu. Ugly kata, right? I wasn't here, but still works, okay? Or even better, and again, on to tweeting. But that's where the concept of moving, sen no sen, take the initiative, don't wait for him to throw the punch. If he throws that punch and I have to react, I better react in 1, because if I react in 2, he has 1-2 before I can get my 1-2. So I need to, if I end up reactionary and back, I better get there quick. I really like this knuckle rake. Okay. So that's the concept, that when we're applying ugly kata, as for last week, when I'm not as concerned about long formal stances, when I'm not concerned, did I hikite perfectly? Did I snap? Was there competitive snap power? I don't care about that. What I care, I didn't do any of that with competitive snap power, but I'm gonna ask Max, did it hurt? And I didn't even hit him, for real, okay? But the concept is, I'm going in, I'm taking the initiative, I'm doing it in 1 move, immediately take away his forward momentum. And again, if he does throw that first punch, this is the slowest possible worst place to be. Because now I have to, and I can make adjustments because I know what's coming. But in real life, I don't want to have to guess what's coming and make those adjustments. I want to get in, start the job, and do it. And really, every move, every bunkai in kata, pretty much should be applied this way. And it doesn't have to be always the punch, right? Maybe he just jumps in and grabs my throat, right? Yeah. It's not pretty, but I did. Oh, so I go from naihanchi, right? That wasn't what I planned, but it's kind of how it ended up. He grabs somewhere, right? Immediately hit. Tweety. So I'm not going to wait around if I don't have to. Sen no sen. Take the initiative. Use the lessons of ugly kata to immediately go take care of your opponent. Thank you, sir. That's all that's on my mind for today. Thank you for joining. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, leave comments. I've had some really good comments lately, some interesting questions, and I appreciate those. But until next week, as always, and most importantly, let's keep practicing.